So, Andrea, it's beautiful having you on the podcast. We've come full circle. I promised to do an interview with you as a thank you for your help and your coaching when I needed it. I titled this one A Healthy Path with Andreea Modrea. Your path is your purpose. And I was reminded of this today. The truth is found in neutrality. Focus on the message, not the messenger. It's the resonance, not the words. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "Do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." So you
Beautiful.
are a health coach at Our Healthy Path, certified in nutrition and holistic
Correct.
health, and uh,
Correct.
you have a passion for empowering busy moms, your specialty, help them reclaim their
Yes,
health
yeah.
to have more energy, confidence, and take care of their families and thrive. Your approach focuses on four key pillars: nutrition, physical activity, hydration, mindfulness, and at the core of your practice, there's an emphasis on gut health, which is key, having
Yes.
the healthy gut for the proper, uh, something I've learned on my own path, especially with my own health issues, is that the majority of serotonin is made in our gut. It's important.
Correct.
Gut health, because it's our
Yes.
second brain down below, right? So, gut
Yes.
health, probiotics, super important. Gut health and overall wellness. You tailored healthful strategies for each client. I like that, the tailored custom approach, because everyone is different, right? Different needs. Meeting them where they are at, guiding them for optimal health through simple yet effective healthy habits. Your Spring into Health 6 week uh, promo, is that still on? I wasn't quite sure because when I was making the notes for it, you still were in promotion for that.
Well, it's now the fall, so we're promoting a 6-week gut health um, program for the fall.
Amazing.
Yes.
Perfect. So I think, why don't we start with I know a bit of your background, but I always like to hear it from the horse's mouth, as the saying goes. How did you get started in your business, in your background? Was it a personal journey? Um, where did it all begin for you?
It certainly was. It certainly was a personal journey. As it happens with many people, not everybody, but it took um, falling like really hard uh, in order to wake up and realize that I needed to take care of my health. I hit rock bottom. Um, I had a very busy lifestyle in my younger years, and I was studying full time, having two jobs. It was go, go, go all the time, not really taking care of my health, not sleeping properly or eating properly or any of that. And long story short, my health crashed. Um, I was misdiagnosed a couple of times with stress and with acid reflux, but what it turned out to be when I finally did get the correct diagnosis was that I had Graves' disease, which is an autoimmune disorder of the thyroid. And basically, your own immune system attacks the thyroid and makes it work a lot faster. Now, Hashimoto's is the opposite, where you have an autoimmune disorder of the thyroid where it makes it run a lot slower. But in my case, it was hyper, so fast. Um, and my symptoms were through the roof. My heart was racing all the time. My hands were shaking. I couldn't keep food down. Couldn't sleep. It was really awful. And I guess at the time I didn't know too much about holistic health. There wasn't a lot of information out there, and I let myself get led into the not holistic, the allopathic medicine path. And my options from that perspective were either ablation through radiation or complete thyroidectomy. So
Was thyroidectomy, that's a removal of?
complete removal of the thyroid. So my endocrinologist opted for the latter, and I had surgery. Now, during the surgery, um, I had what I can only describe as a near-death experience.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, and I can't tell whether it was for a fraction of a second or for the duration of the surgery, but I was just surrounded by a white light. It was warm, it was inviting, it was calm, peaceful, loving, all of the things. I didn't, I mean, I don't recall, but I don't recall having any kind of message uh, or getting pulled in one direction or told to go back. But afterwards, in my recovery for the, weeks and months and years even, I just had like this strong pull, this passion to seek out holistic health, uh, surround myself with holistic health practitioners. I have a whole community of them to help me. And I also, learned a lot, studied a lot, researched a lot. Um, Wanted to also help others. I help my friends, help my family, and also now I'm a certified holistic health practitioner, and my goal is to help others, primarily to prevent any anybody from having to go through the way I did. I don't wish that on anybody. And to have everybody maintain good health for themselves, for good energy, and for their families as well, you know, and
Health
just
is
be healthy.
health is wealth. Proper mindset and
Health is
proper
wealth. You took the words
vitality.
right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I've learned that on my own journey too, that strong mind, because we have power over our mind, not always the externals, the outside events. And peace it's an internal process, right? Being grounded
Absolutely.
through the chaos
Hmm.
it's a master skill at not being
It certainly
led
is.
in one direction or the other. But that comes with emotional maturity. A quote that I live by and I absolutely love, came across it when I was in a really rough way, is that emotional regulation first, analysis after, because if you reverse that order, you'll never reach regulation, which is the cause
Absolutely. You'll
of
drive yourself
all
crazy trying
avoidance.
to find answers.
Trying
Absolutely.
trying to
Hmm.
analyze it, and I've noticed many um, many what do you call it? Health influencers
Hmm.
they're it's the fear aspect. Awareness is great, but pushing the fear aspect, like there's a quote that says, "No medicine can cure a negative mind," and vice versa works the same way too. I
Hmm.
interviewed
Absolutely.
a woman who she studied under a guru, and he drank a bottle of was it whiskey, I think it was. And
Mm.
because he was at enlightenment, he said, "See, this has no power over my consciousness." Like alcohol is poison, but it didn't
Absolutely.
affect him at all. That's the power of the mind. But until
The
we get
power
to
of the
that
mind
point,
is something incredible. Absolutely.
like it's something the Templars taught. They were monks, warrior monks, like God's army.
Hmm.
But until we get to certain levels and degrees of consciousness, like I love my free range eggs. It's not as great as pasture raised, but free range is better than caged.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, so after that, what was the next steps onto your journey, discovering what was going on? Where did you branch off from that?
it was just a matter of finding my niche. And as a busy mom myself, I figured that would be the best approach for me is to help women in the same situation as myself, busy moms, mompreneurs, always on the go. And we have a tendency to put ourselves last. But I think we need to reverse that. We need to put ourselves first so that like it's the whole airplane allegory, right? Like with the oxygen masks, you put your mask on first and then you help others. So it's like you take care of yourself first in order to be able to have enough energy, have enough health and vitality to run after your kids, to run your business, um, to do all the things that you need to do in a day while still having energy, still having good health, not huffing and puffing up the stairs, not having any kind of joint pain, inflammation, gut health issues, bloating, hormonal imbalance, whatever the case may be. So I figured, the best audience would be me. So, or, moms such like myself.
You're the walking product, 100%. But
Trying,
the business is you, right? Yeah.
trying. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. That's heal yourself first, and then that's the thing that I learned on my own path is that
Hmm.
to be a healer, you have to heal yourself first because who's going to come? How are you going to attract people if they see that? Why would they think that it works? Your system is valuable or has efficacy
Well,
if
that's it.
exactly, right?
Hmm. Yep. Healer, heal thyself, right?
Heal thyself. Yeah. That's where the word
Heal
health
thyself.
came from is healeth thee. Like our heels are the lower self connected to it's the soul connected to earth, which is grounded, right?
Yep. Hmm.
Earthing,
Earthing,
right?
grounding. Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I teach in my mindfulness portion uh, of my program. So we have nutrition, which is the core of everything in terms of physical health, right? But I try to work with the whole person, which is what holistic health does. And so hydration, mindfulness, and exercise, right? All of the things. So as part of mindfulness, we try to, like you said earlier, find your center and find a way, like practice staying centered in order to, find calm and peace throughout the day to be able to get through the day without high stress, without your cortisol levels going through the roof, and maintaining calm. Yeah, absolutely.
Um, Speaking of cortisol, so I'm
Hmm.
aware that we basically operate like salt water batteries, and stress is one of the biggest leaches of magnesium, which is needed for around 80 operations within the body.
Yep.
So many people are salt deficient, which solves a lot of health issues. How much salt would you say is needed on average? If people are more stressed, they need more, but as a basis
So
per day.
it's not just salt, right? Like in terms of what we need electrolytes, right? So you
Yeah.
need sodium, magnesium, and potassium and calcium, right? For your body to function optimally because those um, micronutrients, they help your body absorb, like your cells absorb the nutrients from your food,
Mhm.
right? And we also have to stay hydrated because our bodies are 70% water, right? So you don't need a lot, but you do need some. So if you have like if you start off with your glass of water in the morning with a pinch of salt, uh, Himalayan salt, Celtic sea salt, I hear is the best. I hear there's a lot of information going on right now where there's a lot of lead in all kinds of salt,
Yeah.
uh, mine salt. So apparently Celtic sea salt happens to be the best right now. with the least amount of lead. So, anyways, pinch of salt, quarter teaspoon of baking soda, if you want to drink it, just in the morning or if throughout the day, especially you need more electrolytes if you're sweating, if you're exercising a lot, if you're in a hot climate, right? You don't need a lot. We only need a little bit of electrolytes, but we do need them, right, on a daily basis, right? And I think, like you said, a lot of people are magnesium deficient because we don't get enough of it through food. So a magnesium supplement. I mean, and there's different types of magnesium depending on what you need it for, right? Magnesium glycinate or bisglycinate for sleep, for example. For sleeping, magnesium citrate if you're having gut issues, um, elimination of waste.
Your audio is just cutting in and out. Can you mute yourself and then unmute it real quick? That should fix the issue. I find it helps when I have audio issues.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. So magnesium and salt is key, especially with
Magnesium and
hydration.
sodium. Yeah, magnesium, sodium, potassium, and calcium. Those are your electrolytes. They're minerals, micro minerals that we need to consume on a daily basis. It's mostly through our food. We do get it through our food, but it helps to add a little bit. You can also like have water with lemon juice, right? Or apple cider vinegar. Just a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in a tall glass of water in your morning, with your morning water. Yeah,
Yes, get the day started right. I
absolutely.
used to be under the belief that breakfast is the most important meal. That was a cereal company that came out with that. But it is important to um, what's the words that I'm looking for? We need to get the day started. Fill your cup first, as the saying goes, right?
Hmm.
Because the car's not going to go very far on an empty tank. There's some days where I'll just fast. I used to be on the OMAD protocol, one meal a day, but then I found that wasn't doing it for me. Two meals I find is perfect. But yeah,
Everybody needs to find their own rhythm, I think. Yeah, some people are really great, eating breakfast early. It's really good for them, right? Some people find that, intermittent fasting, having a later breakfast or first meal, around 10, 11 a.m. works for them. Some people find, like you said, for you, 2 meals a day works. I just think everybody has to find their own. Sometimes it takes a little bit of experimentation, but once you get into a rhythm, I think that's why I like to work one-on-one with my clients and find what healthy habits work best for them. Right? That's why it's an individual. Everybody's an individual, right? Like everybody works like slightly different. So we have to find what works best for each individual.
eat right for your blood type. Um, now,
For example, yeah, that's one example. Yeah.
I've been wanting to ask too, because there's a lot of within the health community, in the spiritual community especially, I find there's still so much tension because it turns out a lot of food, as I want to get your perspective on this because this is your niche, is
Mhm.
not as bioavailable as we have been told. So there's a lot of people now that are
Yes.
moving towards the carnivore, but there's also Heart and Soil does animal based, so they throw in the fruits and the honey and stuff like that. What are what have you found within terms of bioavailability? And because if our genetics are if our ancestors ate meat, to just cutting that out, it's going to throw the immune system it's going to throw everything way out of balance.
Yeah, again, I do work with my clients on a one-to-one. So it all depends on, I mean, I also have to follow their philosophy. If a client comes to me and says, I'm strictly vegan, don't even talk to me about protein, then I have to work with their philosophy, right? So we have to find ways for them to get enough protein in their body to sustain them, right? And I mean, there's always extremes. Veganism on one end, or you can go even further. You can go frugivore, where people eat simply fruit, and they strongly believe in that, right? So it's very there's a philosophical aspect to it. And on the other end, you have people who have tried all sorts of things, and they find that they don't digest or they don't metabolize vegetable matter very well, so they go carnivore. Um, Everybody, like we just said, everybody's individual. We have to see what works for them, right? Some people find that eating meat is also like very hard on their digestion, right? So it's like finding the balance. Um, I can't say which one is best, like in general, like there is no general, right? Everybody's an individual. So for some people, carnivore, or like you said, carnivore plus fruits and honey. Um, like Dr. Paul Saladino, he promotes that, right? Like he works with that's his preference, right? And that works well for him, and that's what he promotes. Um, Other people work best with more vegetables, fruits, plant-based meals with some protein, right? Some protein. So with the client's needs, figure out what works best for them. Sometimes, like I said, it takes a little bit of experimentation.
Mhm.
One,
Um, would you be able to switch to just
you're,
computer audio by chance?
you want me to take this off?
Possibly. There's just a little bit of interference. I find that that does happen sometimes depending on the type of Bluetooth
Okay,
technology, because I want to really listen to what you're saying and make sure that the
okay.
recording captures it clearly. Um, Now, with autoimmune, one of the things that I've come across in my own research is that the carnivore diet can help with a lot of autoimmune issues. Paleo, caveman, call it whatever you want, it has different names.
Yeah.
Now, I also spoke with someone who've had an autoimmune issue from a very young age and is
Hmm.
strict on not eating any animal meat. And then I dove a little deeper into it, found that autoimmune issues is mitochondria dysfunction. It's the powerhouse of the cell. So hydration is
Hmm.
important, electrolytes especially to
Yes.
get the fluids into the cell because we're 70%
Yes.
water. Now, if if it's not meat, like if now not every solution works for every individual needs, right?
Yeah.
So what are some things that you recommend for people who won't, if it's not meat that will solve it, w- if it's mitochondrial dysfunction, what are some other options that people could use depending on what's causing also too, because correlation does not always equate to causation, right?
Right. So I think one of the first things that we need to do is to eliminate possible irritants, right? So doing an elimination diet, eliminating all processed foods, that's one thing that I recommend for everybody right off the top.
Mhm.
Um, and then, taking out soy, dairy, and gluten um, are like the three major irritants to your gut. So those are the things that I would eliminate first. Other food item irritates them. We eliminate all the irritants, eat as basic as possible, and then, after a few weeks, start reintegrating one at a time to see, okay, is this something that I can tolerate? Is this something that my body will digest and metabolize? Or is this something that is going to continue irritating?
So if it's something that we keep that will continue irritating, then we eliminate it completely, right? If it's something that the body does tolerate, we see how, we reintegrate it a little bit at a time, right? So the first thing to do is eliminate before you start putting in other things, right?
Yeah, that's one of the things that you recommended because I was doing so much. And then you said less is more.
Less is
Eliminate,
more.
just do a
Hmm.
few things. And a lot of it too was I was under an insane amount of stress. So I was piling things on top of each other, but that was also limiting the efficacy of each individual thing. And then there was no way to
Right,
fully know what
right,
was working the best too, because it was it's just all stacked and jumbled.
right.
Like,
So I can tell you that um, the two things that cause us dis-ease the most are stress and toxins. And the primary toxin is sugar. Sugar in all its forms. Okay, so straight up sugar. And I mean, in terms of, I mean, as far as sugar goes, nobody's chewing on sugar cane or drinking sugar cane juice the way it was originally meant to do, the way they might do in the tropics. Okay. Here, sugar is in everything and it's processed. It's really highly processed. To get it from a sugar cane, to get it to the granulated white stuff that we buy at the store, it's a huge multi-step process,
Are there
right? So it's highly,
chemicals? Are there chemicals involved? Because I haven't actually
there
studied the
might be,
process.
there might be. I'm not entirely familiar as to how they turn it from, sugar. I mean, sugar cane is pressed to get the juice. And then ideally you dehydrate the juice to get, crystals, and they crack it, but it's like the white stuff. I have a feeling that it's bleached. I have a feeling that there's more to it than just straight up, you know, juice,
That would
dehydrate,
that would make
and
sense. Yeah, just like
right.
wheat, how it's not
And then
naturally occurring.
other forms of sugar, wheat especially, right? Like you can equate those, right? Like any kind of form of processed carbs that come from wheat are really hard on the digestion. Number one, because of the level of glyphosate, the pesticides, or herbicide. It's a herbicide. I don't want anybody to come and correct me that it's not a pesticide. Um, uh, the level of glyphosate that's sprayed on wheat is absolutely incredible. It's insane. And not only that, they use it as a desiccant to dry the wheat right before harvest. So you've got like the spray into the soil to prevent weeds from growing, but also they spray it right before harvest. So you're getting it almost directly into your digestive system. And if you know anything about how things get processed, what happens is that this is sort of like chemistry, physics. It's like the smaller the particle gets, so from a grain of um, wheat into like the flour powder, the smaller the particle gets, the more pesticide gets in. So at each level of processing,
Oh, that's interesting.
right? So yeah, it's really an unfortunate situation because like it destroys our guts really. Like glyphosate was initially designed as a descaler for those giant like beer vats, or like those vats for whatever it is that uh, giant vats, whatever they're used for. Okay. So imagine what that's doing to your gut. Like it's descaling your gut. So that means it's actually removing all the good bacteria from your gut. It's actually classified now recently as an antibiotic.
Glyphosate is classified as an
Glyphosate is
antibiotic.
classified as an antibiotic.
Oh, wow.
So it's removing the bacteria from your gut, the good and the bad. right? So this is it's doing terrible damage to our
It's
gut.
important
Yeah.
because
And causing leaky gut syndrome. And then, if you have leaky gut, basically what that means is that um, you have villi in your gut, which are like this, and they're really tight, so that when your gut digests food, the nutrients, which are now molecules, pass through in between in between the villi and go into your blood system. They go to your cells. Your cells use them for nutrients, for fuel. But the glyphosate and other toxins basically scrape the gut lining, and then there's spaces in between the villi. And not only that, it could be bleeding, it could be like all sorts of stuff. So now you've got your toxins, your glyphosate molecules, sugar molecules passing through the gut lining into your circulatory system and throughout your body. So now you've got chronic inflammation, right? You've got toxins circulating through your entire system. It can cross the blood-brain barrier. So it does a lot of damage.
the inflammation.
Inflammation.
So disease, there's 15 causes of death in the United States, and every single one, except for iatrogenic disease, which is doctor-induced homicide, came down to inflammation, lack
Mhm.
of proper flow, a disconnect, a neurological disconnect in consciousness. Not just neurological, but anytime that we're disconnected, there isn't proper clarity. So yeah, gut health is huge. And one of the things that
Huge.
we discussed on the call was awareness is the first step in order to change any circumstance, especially
Absolutely.
within health. And if
Hmm.
people aren't aware, like I used to put all kinds of crap into my body, Doritos, Monster energy drinks,
I hear
not
you.
just what they're made from, but they're specifically genetically engineered to trigger people's taste buds to become addictive, and then
Yes.
to feed the unhealthy gut microbiomes,
Yes.
which is why people are
Yeah.
hooked on it, because
Yeah.
that's the one that's the strongest in their body, the
Yeah.
unhealthy gut micro. So they love junk food, fast food,
Yeah.
instant,
So as
instant
far
quick.
as your gut microbiome goes, um, I don't like to classify them as good and bad bacteria. It's just bacteria, and they're polymorphic, which means that they change shape and function. So let's say you have 100%. In an ideal situation, you're born, you have colostrum from, mom's breast milk. It builds up good gut bacteria, and you have 100% good gut bacteria. Now, as you grow up, you start eating things that are not so healthy. And what happens is that the good gut bacteria transform. They transform into what we call the bad gut bacteria, but they're beneficial gut bacteria, and they're opportunistic gut bacteria, right? So they turn and they'll eat whatever you give them,
Yeah.
right? But then it's like if something is made to be addictive, well, then you're basically feeding the opportunistic or bad gut bacteria. And those are the ones that are going to multiply. If you're feeding them junk food, those are the ones that multiply. If you're feeding your body and your gut bacteria healthy foods, it's the healthy, beneficial gut bacteria that are going to multiply. It's really just simple math in that regard,
It's like
right?
I think it's the Chinese proverb of the two wolves. Whichever one you feed the most is the one that grows.
I think First Nations also have something very similar, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the type of information that I love talking about, because if more people actually understood and implemented this, the majority of their issues in the life resolve themselves.
Yeah.
Because it all
I
comes down
think
to energy, and energy doesn't lie. It is what it is.
everything's an energy transfer. You're absolutely right about that. Um, I do want to say though that it's more than just awareness, right? You can be aware of something and still choose not to make changes. There still has to be that click where says, okay, I am aware of the things that I'm doing to my body. I am aware that I'm eating things that are unhealthy, that they're, causing me inflammation, that they're causing me leaky gut, bloating, whatever the case may be. But they have to choose to make changes, right? You have to choose to make the change. I think that's a huge, huge aspect.
There has, and like you said, sometimes they needed that wake up call. It was dramatic for me too.
Hmm.
But people need that push sometimes because in psychology teaches that people are going to justify anything just in order to be
Absolutely.
able to cope with themselves, because it's easier to lie to themselves many times than to actually change, because change, looking ourselves in the mirror and
Hmm.
realizing that we have to take responsibility. We're the only ones that can change
Absolutely.
our lives, right? Other people can guide, but ultimately we take the first steps into the transformation.
Yep. Well, you were saying about the horse um, idiom. Well, you can only lead a horse to water, right? There's another horse idiom, right? Um, I was going to say something along the lines of what we were just discussing. I lost it. Let's just keep going. I'll come back to it.
Sure. Yeah, it's interesting because a friend of mine, she deals with severe stress and anxiety, and we were talking about energy. From a spiritual perspective, horses, they have the ability to see into the soul.
Hmm.
And she said whenever she's in her horse's presence, all of that anxiety, it just dissipates. It it's gone. It vanishes. So it is important, like especially in nature too. Like nature provides everything. It's abundant.
Yes.
They don't worry. They don't have any stress. A lot of health issues. I was learning recently too. Autoimmune. The body it's in constant. The parasympathetic nervous system. It's in constant fight or flight. It's not
Hmm.
relaxed. It can't wind down. It's not in the here and now moment. So it can't receive the gift of presence
Hmm.
because it's focusing on all the externals, everything that's wrong,
Yep.
everything that could go wrong, what hasn't happened yet, what might happen yet. Fear and anxiety, fear and loathing in Los Angeles, Las Vegas, that one movie. But um, it's
Finding
sometimes
balance is key.
it's
We
sometimes it's
always
so
want to get the
simple.
body back to equilibrium. That's right.
Yeah,
Yes. And that is mind, body, and spirit. We have to find balance in all three. Absolutely.
the middle pillar, the middle,
Yes.
because how many people are polarized to the left or to the right? That's the way that the world
Absolutely.
teaches. You have to pick a side. When I was diving into a specific philosophy, a friend of mine said, or I said to her actually, you have to pick a side. I don't necessarily believe that anymore. Sometimes it's okay to sit on the fence. Then you can see both sides. You can see the two different types of neighbors, one that isn't taking care of their grass or one that cuts it every single day. Seeing the perspective and the higher awareness gives us the ability to make those clear, concise, conscious choices.
Or, finding peace within oneself and not stressing about which one's right. Is it cutting the grass every day that's right, or is it, not caring about your grass at all? We have to find peace within ourselves and not really pick a side, like you said, like just finding the peace and finding what's right for you. Maybe what's right for you is cutting the grass once a week, right? Finding the balance between the two,
Yeah.
right?
Finding that inner balance, because
Hmm.
everyone has it differently. Some people see grass, depends on which perspective people are viewing it at, right? Some people choose not to cut their grass whatsoever and just let it grow naturally wild. And then there's depends on where you live, right? People do it's a law in hermetic energy. Like attracts like. Energy goes where attention flows, and there's 12 universal laws, and they're unmutable, they're unbreakable. Energy is just energy, right? So I like how
Speaking
you
of laws, this is what I was going to say earlier, that as humans, we tend to go towards the law of least effort, right? We were talking about making choices to take responsibility for our health and take action. But a lot of the time, the human body, is the law of least effort. What's the, like, just what's the least amount of work that I can do in order to, get results? But really, it takes more than that, right? It does take a level of effort. It does take conscious choice and action, right? And like you said, when we take action, the universe supports, right? We take action, the universe will support us in our choice.
Yeah, because there's the law of attraction, which is based on our own energy, but then there's the actionable
Mhm.
law of attraction. It's not just as simple as visualizing it, knowing what needs to be changed, having the energy, but we also have to take the action to create the momentum in order to have the sustainment of those
Absolutely.
long-term efforts.
That's it exactly. That's it exactly right there. Yeah.
Ah, perfect. So, wow. Sometimes less is more, and I, just going with the flow instead of looking at the time and living in the moment. It's been a beautiful conversation. I've learned a lot, love tapping into your knowledge base, and thank you for coming on to
Conversation with
Solution
me as well.
Center.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it. So why don't we do some final closing wrap up um, thoughts?
Sure.
What's some pointers that you can give people that are watching this, number one, if they're looking to make changes in their health and are serious about that? Because many people, they want the changes, but they're not always ready to take the first steps. And then after that, where's the best place that people can find you and get in
Mhm.
touch and connect with you if they're interested in working with you?
Okay. So, a couple of things that I tell my clients or any of the audiences that I speak to is that small steps over time lead to big results. So, small incremental steps lead to big results. If on day one, let's say today is your day one, you choose to take matters into your own hands, take responsibility for your health, and you start taking action, small steps, in a year from now, you won't recognize yourself. You will be in such a much better place. Okay. And it's not an all or nothing thing. I don't do all or nothing. Okay. I use the 80-20 rule, which means, for example, if you eliminate 80% of the junk food in your home, I allow you to keep the 20% so that you're not always like going crazy with cravings and whatever. Oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Like you're just going, like your brain starts to just focus on the things that are not there. So instead of you rushing to the store, you say, okay, well, I've got a few things in the house, and you can eat your favorite treats. 80% of the time you eat healthy, 20% of the time you eat you can, include your favorite treats as a dessert to a meal.
Guilty pleasures. Yeah.
Guilty pleasures, exactly. Right. And that makes us feel good, right? It's all about feeling good. I don't want my clients to feel anxious about the choice, like you don't want having that anxiety around food that doesn't lead to good results. It just stresses people out. And that's one thing we want to eliminate the most is the stress aspect. Right. So those are the two key things that I would leave your audience with. And to connect with me, you can reach me on Facebook at Andreea Modrea if you want to put the information. And my website is www.ourhealthypath, all one word, OurHealthyPath.ca. I've got my programs on there. If you go under the membership section, there's the 6-week gut health program that we're promoting right now. There's the 12-week full, complete, one-on-one overall health program. And there's a couple of others on there as well for people to have a look at and choose. If you want to work with me, I'd love to have you on.
Amazing. Wow. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a
Thank you so
pleasure.
much.
You're welcome.
It really has been. I really enjoyed this conversation a lot.
Yeah, I have as well. Until next time,
Okay, take care, Stephen.
you as well. Bye for now.
Bye.